Hello everybody. I want to talk a little bit about how to safely get on and off of your horses today. And before we get into the nitty-gritty of all of that, technically speaking, I want to talk a little bit about connecting with your horse mentally, spiritually if you want, and just taking a moment, when we first come into the arena, or you can do this in the barn while you're taking up, but just to check in with yourself and check in with your horse and see, where you're at today. Who are we? Who am I? How do I feel? You can start with yourself and just, think, okay, so what kind of baggage, mental clutter do I need to get rid of on this morning? And take a few deep breaths, breathe in, breathe out, feel the ground underneath your feet, and just sort of let go of any negativity, negative thoughts, negative tension in your body. You may even roll your shoulders back a little bit and shake away anything that might, feel tense or weird in your body. And then secondly, of course, check in with your horse and see, where your horse is at this very moment. And what I like to do for this type of thing is I like to go and just sort of have this mantra that I've been using for a long, long time. And I just sort of very consciously get present with the horse. You can touch if you like. You can just stand there if you don't want to touch. And put maybe one hand on your horse and just go into this headspace that's empty as possible, and just tune in with your horse. And then you're going to say to yourself and your horse, I am with you, you are with me, all is well. Right? And that is the shortest, briefest way of connecting. I am with you, you are with me, all is well. Right? You can expand on that a little bit. There's another mantra that I call the heart-to-heart mantra, and it goes a little bit like this. It goes heart to heart, mind to mind, body to body, and soul to soul. I am with you, you are with me, all is well. And those very simple but heartfelt words, they just kind of give you a really nice starting point with your horse. Just become still, drop into that really beautiful space that connects you with your horse. And then, then you get started. It's not really magical or, mystical or anything like that. There's no woo-woo connected to it. Just, create an energetic baseline where you feel like, okay, so now this is a good place. From here we can start on our journey and explore what we want to do for today. So, and then once we are aligned and tuned into one another energetically, I like to take Philly around the arena for a walk, maybe for a couple of rounds, just to give her a chance to look around a little bit and see if there are any scary things happening. It's much better to experience these things on the ground. If there are any issues, much safer. And then, of course, also it gives her an opportunity to warm up her back muscles and her joints in her legs. You get lubricated as we're just meandering around here a little bit. And, it also gives me an opportunity in case there are any issues or any questions in terms of, who is who in regards to leadership, which, there may or may not. But it gives you an opportunity to walk at a regular pace, at a regular rhythm, with your shoulders nicely rolled back, head up, looking around, confident, and keeping your horse's head next to your shoulder, and basically, saying, hey, I'm in this nice pairing of the two of us, this little herd of two that we are building together. I am your trustworthy leader, and I am the one who's in charge of speed and direction. And so, I will already in these very beginning stages establish, what and when and how we're doing things. And, with some horses that might matter a little bit more than with others. But I like to ideally set up, a nice clean slate before we attempt to move together, one on top of the other. And it also gives me a chance while I'm walking to possibly get rid of some of my last bits and pieces of negative energy or tension in my body or in my mind. I can roll my shoulders back while I'm walking, look around, take in the beauty of the scenery, and just in general, just neutralize everything that might not be having a place in this setting, in this beautiful setting that we're in together right now, right? And your horse will notice it, you will get to by the time you're done and you're getting to the mounting block or to the area where you're getting on, oh, it feels already much better than a few minutes ago for both you and your horses. And with that said, we're going to actually go and prepare to get on. Good girl. So as you can see, I have lined up filly here right next to a little mounting block, and I do recommend using a mounting block for sure, because it gives you a chance to get onto your horse without pulling on all these very sensitive muscles and tendons and the whole structure of the horse that, if you get on from the ground up, you just have to heave yourself up and really, really pull on the horse's side. And which is number one, you can train them to tolerate that, but it's not very good for them physically. And so anything we can do to make them more comfortable and to make things safer, of course, is what we are aiming to do, right, Philly? So let's assume you have checked your tack, everything is in a good place. You're going to put your reins over the top of your horse's head gently. Want to check maybe one more time if the girth is tight enough on both sides, which it is in this case. Gently pull down your stirrups. Don't let it just clang against your horse's belly. Just let it slide. I'm going to do that on the other side as well. And I'm going to check the girth here. I could pull it up a little bit more so that feels a little bit better. So, very good girl. And so then I'm going to, as I'm getting on or preparing to get on, I'm going to take the reins, both in my left hand, and hold on to a little bit of mane here, right by the withers. I'm going to do that in a minute. She's a little bit uncomfortable for me to come up this way. I'm going to grab the mane. I'm going to step onto this mounting block. I'm just going to stand here while I'm talking and explaining it to you. And I'll put my foot into the stirrup, and then as I get into the saddle, I'm going to make sure that my knee is going to stay bent. So that's one big thing that sometimes, people forget. So in this case, I'm going to come around, step up here. I don't know if you can see it, but I put my left leg in here, keep my knee bent, keep my left hand on the shoulder with the reins, both not too tight and not too loose. Right hand is on the cantle here. And then I'm going to do this in a little bit of a slow motion for you. I'm going to go here and gently lean forward and lift myself into the saddle and put my right foot into the right stirrup, right? And I glide into the saddle. I don't go whoomp. Because if this knee stays bent, you have positive enough tension or enough positive tension in your leg to gently glide, right? And then you're in it. Then you're up here, right? So that is a fairly simple looking procedure, but if you have problems with it and your horse won't stand still, practice it with a helper. I usually like to give my horse, once I'm on, a piece of sugar. She knows that. And when you train your horse by yourself, the reason I think that's helpful is that I teach my horse to stand still. She does not get the sugar unless she stands still completely quiet as I get on, right? And that way you train them to wait for it until you're on, and it's a pleasant experience because you're not clonking, you're not like a sack of potatoes just flopping yourself on top of your horse. And then they know they get the piece of sugar. Then you breathe, pick up a light rein, and you might want to ride on and off into the sunset. But I'm also going to show you, while we're here, how to get off. And just going to take a couple of steps forward here, 1, 2, so that I'm a little bit away from the mounting block. But basically what I like to do, and there are different ways of doing this, of course, like everything in riding and anything that has to do with horses. I like to take both legs out of my stirrups. I have basically the reverse of what we did coming on. Grab with my left hand the reins and a little bit of mane, And then I'm going to lean forward, and you can imagine that as I lean forward, imagine this, my whole body is like a straight axis, a straight structure. I lean forward and both of my legs all the way from the hips go backwards. And then I'm going to push myself forward and offward, and then you're going to see that this is how I like to do it here. I'm going to slide down gently like this and stay with the horse, even so that when the horse steps back, you're in a safe spot, right? You don't get stepped on or anything. And that's really one of the safest ways that I know how to get on and off of a horse, and I hope this helps you, and that this will inspire you to, practice or teach your horse. And if there are more questions or problems, please let me know, and I'll give you some other pointers in this video description. And with that said, I wish you a great day and happy riding. Good girl.